Nothing is finer than gulping cold lemonade and basking happily in your own private pool, until that tranquility is usurped by a sun hat, sporting, clipboard-carrying Karen, posing in the sunlight like a storm of self-importance. I had hardly had time to towel off when she materialized at my fence, lips pursed thinner than a lemon slice. "Beautiful pool," she said, pretending to glance at it, "but some of us think it is only fair that everyone on the HOA gets to enjoy it too. Otherwise, it gets divisive. Hi, and welcome to our channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for your daily dose of HOA drama." I blinked. "Sorry, you want what?" Karen grinned. Not a nice one, but that type of smile that villains give just before they launch a missile. "Your pool," she whispered once more. "The only one in the subdivision. The board is discussing a motion to open it up or shut it down. It's a question of equity. We can't have some of us living like kings and queens while other folks work in their backyards." Oh yeah, the HOA equity clause. Between fantasy land and complete trash. "Unless the HOA is paying my chlorine and utilities," I answered, shivering with dampness. "Pretty certain you can't do that." Karen waved her clipboard. "We'll see. You'll be receiving a formal notice." She marched away like she'd just won a war. 2 days later, the letter arrived. It was penned in Comic Sans, which is honestly a sin in and of itself. It told me to open my pool to the public in 30 days or face increasingly higher penalties in the form of more and more money, as well as something called a structural disapproval review. I didn't know what that was, but it definitely did sound like a Chardonnay-soaked threat typed by a member of the human race who once read half of a memo. So I did what every lawfully conscious, pool-loving homeowner would do. Open the HOA charter like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Tabbed, highlighted, dug in. What did I discover? Oh, Karen had just driven into a pothole of legal proportions the size of her ego. Well, as it happens, my pool had been fully approved and built under permits years ago. And Section 8.3.2 of the HOA Charter specifically states that the HOA shall have no jurisdiction over private recreational facilities, which are not financed in whole or in part by HOA dues. All my tiles, all my pipes, all my blueness up top, my money. And so I did make a sign, not some pitiful cardboard thing, but some shiny, commercially made aluminum sign, riveted to the fence post beside my pool gate. And it read, "Private property, not associated with HOA. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Security cameras installed. Section 8.3.2, HOA Charter." Karen spotted it 2 hours later. She was right on top of my lawn, jaw spasming, eyes crinkling like I declared martial law. "You're being divisive," she snapped. "Nope," I said breezily. "Just being lawful. You should try it." But winning wasn't enough. I needed to make it educational. I addressed a letter to the HOA. Within, a single copy of Section 8.3.2, a legitimate demand for mutual use of private facilities, a $50,000 non-refundable processing fee, a 3-page waiver of liability, a notarized certification of fitness, and an outright waiver of claims at law. I sent it certified. Karen signed for it in person. 2 days afterward, a letter. She told me to remove the sign and consider my elitist attitude. I hung her letter. Left the sign up. Added a laminated placard for educational purposes. Next, I started talking to neighbors. I happened to be accompanied. One neighbor was fined $100 for tulips the wrong color. Another had his nephew's birthday bounce house banned for being too joyful. One war veteran had been warned because his American flag was too big. That's where I met Mark Mousy Little Guy, 3 houses down from me. Served on the board before Karen pushed him out. Banking on that anyway. Countersigned him in. Did it behind his back. Made flyers, constructed a campaign website, and used security camera shots of Karen insisting on pool use as motivation material for a handful of strategically chosen neighbors. And then there was the start. Private Property Appreciation Day. I hosted it by the pool, invited every homeowner who had been ticketed, bullied, or otherwise clipboarded. We drank, shared stories, and toasted personal boundaries. Karen stood across the street with arms crossed, watching as if we were holding her funeral. The next day, she was outside my fence, snapping with her cell phone. She fled when she saw the red flashing camera light. In the afternoon, I emailed her a screenshot and cease and desist letter. Trespassing, harassment, intrusion of surveillance. I copied the entire board. Election day came and went without ballyhoo, just tight smiles and ballots. Karen arrived early, wearing a red blazer and a plastic smile. Mark rolled up with nothing but a pen and a binder called Financial Reform. It was over at 7 p.m. Mark, 79. Karen, 9. Someone scrawled, anyone but Karen. She waited not for a thank you address, stormed out as if she had an appointment to keep at a villainous gathering. The new board's first order, the personal property non-interference rule, approved it unanimously. In English to Karen, don't trespass in other folks' pools, Karen. But I still had one final trick up my sleeve. Refined, elegant, petty in the best of ways. I employed groundskeepers to trim my front hedges into the following concise declaration. Private means private. Karen's residence is across the street. She gazes at it each morning. Last I know, she tried to become a member of the neighborhood garden club. They rejected her. One of them reputedly told her, "We're not into dictatorships. My pool remains mine. My gate is closed. And my parties? By invitation only." Mark and his children visit occasionally. We laugh about the Karen times as if they occurred a millennium back. She did it for power. I diddled her up with consequences. All legal, all tidy, and with just the right sprinkle of flair. If you've ever had to contend with a power-tripping HOA or love watching justice served with a sprinkle of chlorine, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. What would you do if Karen invaded your backyard utopia? Leave your favorite HOA horror tale in the comments. We might just share it in our next episode of our channel.